have over 122 journalists that have been killed. Over 122 journalists who had their vests on to identify themselves as journalists. We had over 122 journalists either wearing vests or in vehicles marked for press. This can only be interpreted as targeted killing of journalists, which is a war crime. This has to be a tactical decision that was made by Israel to ensure that journalists cannot do their job and get the message out to the wider world that Israel is committing a genocide. This freedom of press does not exist for the Palestinian journalists. Over 122 Palestinian journalists have been killed. And why are we outside the BBC? These are your colleagues. These are your colleagues. Yet you are silent. Your silence only breeds complicity. But your silence goes into active participation when you choose to show the Israeli position when we're talking about in the ICJ, but you fail to live stream the Palestinian representation. It fails when you say that Palestinians have died. They did not die, we know they were killed. This starts to set the narrative. The BBC is setting the narrative for the world to follow. And the narrative is one that is incorrect. This did not start October the 7th. This started over 75 years ago with the illegal occupation of Palestine. This continues with the apartheid state. This continues with the subjugation. This continues with the illegal siege. So we're asking the BBC, we are demanding as taxpayers that they should report adequately. They should speak for the journalists. They should speak for their colleagues. So as Mohammed said earlier, BBC,
shame on you!
BBC,
Shame on you!
BBC,
Shame on you!
BBC,
Shame on you!
BBC.
Shame on you!
These are the names you hold in front of you on the press jackets. These are names of journalists who are being killed. That is just journalists that are being killed. But we know over 27,000 Palestinians have been killed, 11,500 of which are children. We know an ongoing genocide is taking place. The role of the journalists is important to tell the wider world that genocide is taking place, and that is why there's been a tactical decision, so it seems, from Israel to kill the journalists who are identified as journalists. BBC need to speak up. BBC need to report adequately. They are failing. BBC!
Shame on you!
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 10:53. Yeah, now I think.